She's an associate professor of physics and the division lead of chemistry and biochemistry at Texas Women's University, who are a recent signer of the Green Chemistry Commitment. Super exciting. She's a Sensor Leadership Fellow and a co-director of Sensor Center for Innovation Southwest. And she's been the faculty organizer for the annual poster show at the Golden Triangle Mall, which is titled Pioneer Research at the Mall, which is super cool, held every fall. The Kohan Research Group is interested in developing spectroscopic techniques to understand the nature of interaction of anti-cancer drugs with DNA, and also applications of nanomaterials such as carbon nanotubes. And Dr. Kohan is also interested in understanding teaching pedagogy and student learning, particularly in science classes. So please do join me in welcoming Nasrin, and I will stop sharing my screen and I will let her screen share her slides.
Thank you so much, Nem. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for the kind introduction, and thank you for Beyond and Benite team to be so amazing and having us today to speak a little bit about what we do at Texas Women's University. I'm going to try to share my screen and then go from there. Okay, do you guys see my first slide?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Before I start, I just want to give the credit to all of our faculty, students, and staff. What I'm talking today, it's mainly what our department does in general. So I am honored and privileged to tell you a little bit about amazing work everybody does in our department. So a little bit about where we are and just kind of a location, and give you a little bit overall about Texas Women's University. We are in Denton, north of Dallas. I always say it could be 30 minutes or 2 hours or even more depending on the traffic. So we are north of Dallas. Texas Women's University is the biggest primary university for women. We have 3 campuses, Denton, Dallas, and Houston. We are located in Denton. That's the biggest campus. We have about 15,000 students, and 88% of students are women. Originally was all for women, and then around 1970s, they opened it to men. So we have about 11-12% men also. We are a very diverse. We are ranked 4th nationally in diversity. A little bit about our department. So we offer Bachelor of Science in Chemistry and Biochemistry. We also have ACS certified for both programs. We just currently got approval to start fall of 23 on our accelerated BS Master in Chemistry. So the idea is our student, we call it 3+2, sometimes they call it 4+1, but it is the students that start doing research early on and take some graduate course. So in 5 years, at minimum in 5 years, they could get their bachelor and master, both of them, which is saving students time, money, and I think it's a fantastic program, especially targeted to the students. Currently, we have a track in environmental chemistry. We are working on environmental chemistry bachelor degree. It's going for approval. So hopefully, if it's approved, will be in fall of 23 as well. We have master program. We do not have PhD program, but currently we have about 16 to 17 master in chemistry, and all of our students do research. So it's all like research-based chemistry. I have a list of some of the toys we have here in our labs. This is not complete, but we have been lucky to have many, many tools that we need for our research and everything. So students, they get to play, and faculty too. We have a lot of fun in the lab. We have a mission statement for our department. One thing I wanted to mention is mainly educating socially responsible, civically engaged chemists and biochemists. So we put a lot of emphasis to educating our students socially and civically engaged. The main reason behind this, I'll go through it. And also a little bit about our research. There are a few different research. We have about 12 faculty in our department, and a few of them are not research active, but the one they are, I just summarized some of the research topics. It's not everybody, and it's not, so I apologize for that. But mainly I wanted you guys to see like if all of our research has some civic aspect to it. And we are having the environmental chemistry research. We have 2 faculty. I believe one of them are on this call today. So if you have any specific question, I'll refer it to Dr. Salzar. 2 of our faculty, their research is in environmental chemistry. And we have a departmental research that we call it microplastic in environment. So it's not just the research faculty, they're doing it, we're doing in classes and lab for science and non-science students. I have a little bit about that later on, I can talk about it. So as part of, because we have only undergraduate and master, so we don't have a PhD program, our undergraduate, they get to do go conferences, and many of them they start research. So we have many, even sometimes that's freshman students, they start doing research with us, and we make sure to give them an opportunity to go to conferences and talk about their research network, but also as I will explain a little bit later, talk about the part that we call civic engagement and what they do to take care of the problems in the world. We are part of Sensor. If you guys haven't heard about it, I have a few slides very briefly to talk about it. Sensor stands for Science Education for New Civic Engagements and Responsibilities. When originally started, has been supported by NSF for 18 years. And when it started, it was focused on science, but now it includes everybody, even all other majors and other areas and the public. So it's kind of, it has been very much inclusive. And the website is sensor.net if you guys want to learn more about it, and I can put it in the chat a little bit later. What Sensor does, the main focus is as a scientist, when we teach, I mean, when I say as a scientist, every teacher, when we teach, it has to have some connection to the civic issues. So Sensor started this platform that making sure our teaching it's related and connected to civic issues. And our students, they are, whatever they are doing in the classroom, it connects their to the communities, the world around them, the problems they're dealing with it. So we are not isolated, and we can kind of solve the real problems in our classrooms as well. As all has shown that when students, they get involved in work that has some kind of a civic engagement or basically community aspect into it, the students learn better because they care about it, that encourage them to learn. So there is a direct relationship between not only we helping our communities, but also helping our students learning as well. And at the end of the day, it's like providing a platform for us to take care of our society and all the problems we have currently, or even future problems, as we talk about plastics problem in future. So our university actually, so Sensor has different regions. At Texas Women's University, we are Center for Innovation Southwest. That means our focus on our few states I've written there, but doesn't, we basically, we focus on these regions, but we also provide any opportunities or workshop we could. So Dr. Sherdy, I believe on this call, and we are the co-director for SCI Southwest, and we have 3 focus in our region: environmental sustainability, science teacher prep, and undergraduate research. As part of our being part of this center, we go to some other universities and we provide workshop to faculty how to make their courses civically related and have a civic lens in these courses. So we do faculty development, but also, at least until before the COVID, we had regional meetings. So around January, February, we would invite leaders in Sensor and some other educators. And every year we pick a different topic. For instance, examples I have here in 2019 was democracy, civic engagement, and student learning. So we had a fascinating conversation. As we know, democracy is important. So we focus on student learning and democracy. In 2020, sadly, that was the last one, and we hope to bring that back again. It was about plastic. So what citizen science, the impact on our communities by plastic is in our environment. So when we started planning for this symposium, trying to figure out how to take care of impact of plastic on environment, we started a lot of conversations, especially with Dr. Kathy Medialcam and Dr. Sherdy, was about, if we're talking about it, we talk the talk, we walk the walk. So what we did, we started, how do we have this conference as a zero impact event? How do we basically not do what we're trying to figure out? So we put a team of students and faculty together. Professor Alana Taylor from our department was a faculty advisor, and there was graduate and undergraduate students together in collaboration with Dr. Middlecamp and her students from Wisconsin-Madison. They basically met a lot on Zoom and in person. They did an amazing job to telling us how to organize this symposium in a way that we do not have as much as waste or plastics. Of course, there is no such a thing as zero impact yet, but we try to make it mainly zero waste. How can we not have so much waste? So few things they came up with that we could possibly do. They did research on hotels, local hotels, and we basically had a list of the local hotels that they have some kind of sustainability and eco-friendly programs. So we send it to all of our guests that if they could choose among this hotel, we make sure there are some kind of transportation so they all drive together. So it's not like everybody drives their own car. About food, first, originally, they start looking at the local businesses because smaller businesses, we try to hire them for our events. But the interesting thing is our students, they learn that mellow mushroom pizza, it's one of the environmentally friendly and very much about sustainability. They use their all of their cardboard is 100% recycled material. They have a whole program about bees and how to make sure they are okay. So we started using their services for our food. Our department purchased plates, cups, napkins, silverware, which originally it was a lot of work just getting them, washing them. But at the end of the day, we have them. Every event, we reuse them. And the students, they help us to wash them using dishwasher. So, and also one thing we learned that using dishwasher, you actually conserve more water comparing to washing by hand. So that was interesting. We asked all of our attendees to bring their own bottles, and we use reusable name tags. Oftentimes you go to conferences, there's this big giant plastic cover they give you, but we had these name tags that you can write with kind of a Sharpie, and then we could clean it, and then we can reuse it for another event. We didn't have any schedule, any abstract book and papers. We had a big schedule on the screen in case somebody doesn't have electronic devices. At the end of the day, we gave all of our guests a usable straw. So we tried to eliminate few things. One of the picture makes me always happy. Alana took this picture, like after the conferences, she takes the leftover, we have a composting, and she takes all of them to the chickens, and just nothing goes to waste. And if the food is still good, we take it to the local homeless place. And so we try to kind of conserve food in that regard too. They have been amazing, and they did a lot of work. And interesting enough, city also, this got their attention. So the people out there also want to do something like that. So that's our first sensor. Actually, the city picked it up. They made a news about it. And then even Dallas picked up in another news, and they talked about how we're trying to lessen impact on environment, or even just go plastic free. I like the quote from Dr. Middlecamp. I put it here. We always talk about recycling, but what if we go to the source? Mainly because, again, in our research with plastics in our department, we see that, okay, I'm going to talk a little bit faster. We see that it's easier to go really to the source and not to create any plastics. This is another aspect. In Dallas, they picked up the news. Another thing that Nem mentioned, poster show at the mall. Another thing we do is different in our department is taking our students to talk to the public about what they do and what kind of science they do. There is a lot of basically benefits to this that I have listed here. I'm not going to read it for you, but we know as researchers, we need to communicate our research to the public. They pay by their tax money, and it's important for them to see how we use it. At the end of the day, again, it goes back to benefit the community. It's very difficult to change the technical poster to a public poster. So that takes a while to teach students how to do it and how basically change the wording. So I have one example of how we changed the title to the more general way of saying that everybody knows what is cancer therapy, everybody knows what's DNA. So changing that helps understanding what kind of work we do at Texas Women's University. I'm just going to quickly show you a few pictures. So we went to the Golden, this is a local mall in Denton, Golden Triangle Mall. And Saturday morning, we went there, we took our own boards, and mall was very, very interested in this. And they wanted us to do it every month. We said, we're just going to do it once a year for the time being. So our students were very excited. We invited the music department, our reading department came, and our teacher ed department came, and they were basically reading stories to the kids if the mom or parents or family wanted to go look at the poster. So it was a really a community effort, university, everybody came together to do this. This is my favorite picture. One of our students brought both of her grandmother, and then she said, this is the first time I was able to tell my grandmothers what I do in the lab. I love this picture, just showing like your grandmother understand what you're saying. You're not dumbing down the science, you're not bringing it down, you're just changing the language in a more public language. We did a survey to understand what community think about the research we do. Do they want to see more and everything like that? We had few comments, and they wanted us to do it like in Sam's Club, in other places. So we're still working on it. If we can take it in another platform and maybe high schools to do something like that, poster show at the mall. I just wanted to have a quick example for the chemists in the room, that Dr. Salvador and Professor Alana Taylor, their classes, like Alana teaches the non-science majors, and Gustavo teaches the chemistry majors, environmental chemistry courses. They both together, they're collaborating, they go collect soil samples, and then I wrote here a little bit like about what they do, but at the end of the day, students get to visualize microplastic and see how they look like and how much plastic is in the environment. Another environmentally related work we do here is like, for instance, in Dr. Sherdy class, they convert aluminum to Play-Doh. So you kind of using the waste to do something about it. And some of our classes like quant and instrumental analysis, they look at bleaching of the plastics, what kind of chemicals you get and why is it bad for the environment. I also wanted to mention that I really appreciate how NEM started with land acknowledgement. I did not started ours with land acknowledgement. We are still working on it. Texas Women, we don't have a official land acknowledgement yet, but through the work we are doing, one of our projects we're working at Texas in our department, and we are part of a bigger group educators in the US that increasing the indigenous students in STEM. I've listed our 3 goals there. It's not just increasing the number, but also providing environmental belonging for them so they can be belong, but also we have we call it becoming. We support them until they graduate. And another aspect is trying to incorporate more indigenous knowledge in our curriculum, because they know a lot of things and the knowledge is priceless. So we should start incorporating indigenous knowledge in our classes. So one of the things naively I thought when I started working on this project, we need the land acknowledgement. But I learned that just putting the land acknowledgement there and not having anything like an actions plan, that's actually, it's not good. And at the end of the day, yes, we know what land we are on it, but what are we going to do about it? So we're working on actions plan for our land acknowledgement to include what are our responsibilities, how do we care about the land we are on it. So I'm just going to add you a few lines. That's part of it. We have been working. So everything we're doing as part of our green chemistry, environmental chemistry, this is our commitment to take care of this land. So I'm excited to just work on it, and I'm hoping next time when we give any talks, we have our official land acknowledgement. So we're going to take care of this land. That's the least we can do. And real quick, I'm just going to brag about our faculty and our students here. Because of our civic engagement work, we got recognized from American Associations of, I guess I have to flip it now. It's American Associations of Colleges and University for the only hard science incorporating civic engagement in the program. This was 2018, and there was a great recognition for us. And also we wrote an article in that journal just to telling other chemistry department or like how we basically incorporate the civic engagement in the lab aspect of our classes. So it's doable. It's not, we didn't have to change so much the contents. You still can cover the contents but related to civic engagement. We also got another award because of our work from the National Center for the Censor, and these are just energize us to go forward. And again, I give the credit to all of our faculty and our amazing students. The fact that our students let us do stuff and then ask them to help us, that's amazing. The trust they have in us, I don't take that for granted, and I appreciate that. I need again to thank the faculty and staff and the students at our department, National Center of Science, we get our Robert Walsh Foundation, they provide some departmental grant, and of course our Zero Impact Project team. They have a website they're working on, it's still under construction, but I'll share it in the chat if you guys want to look at it. We have had 2 more events that they have helped us to organize those events. And last but not least, amazing Beyond Benite team. Thank you so much for this opportunity to let me talk a little bit about what we do in our department. I don't know how long I talk. I hope I have time for questions. If not, I'll let them tell me what we're gonna do next. I'm gonna stop share so I can see you guys. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Yes, you do have time for questions. So we have a couple minutes. So if anyone has any kind of burning questions, please feel free to unmute and jump in, or you can raise your hand, or you can pop a question in the chat too, and we'll try and catch it there. So please, gonna open the floor, go for it.
If I can just ask a question, I'm having a problem with my audio, so I don't know if I was called on, but I'm just going to pretend like I was. I love your idea of the posters in the mall, and I'm just curious, practicality-wise in class, do students do a poster like in our class? It's a seminar, a whole semester seminar where they build a poster presentation. Do they do 2 separate posters, like one for the general public and one for a more science-based audience? Thank you.
Yes.
And great presentation. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Actually, the idea of taking the poster presentation, I'm going to give the credit Dr. Sherdy. He's the man behind that idea. But yes, our students are doing 2 posters. One is technical, and oftentimes we take it to conferences and they change that up to make it for public. So we always have 2. And sometimes we even put both of them next to each other, depends on the audience. And the one they make in public, it takes way longer than they make the technical. And one of the interesting things has come up, we get to know if our students really understood what they are doing too. Because if you're not able to translate what exactly you're doing to the public, that's students, they figure, okay, I don't even know what's the meaning of whatever word I'm using. So they get to learn even better what they're doing it. So short answer is yes, we do both of them, and then depends on the audience, we take one or even both.
Thank you so much.
Of course. And we have a publications. I can share the link with you guys how we did it. A lot of like details how you do it, because it starts like few months of work, but we have done it. We figured out a few things. I'm happy to share that with you guys too. Thank you.
I actually had a question about your microplastics experiment. So I believe you mentioned that both non-science majors and also environmental science majors are doing that experiment. Did you see any kind of big differences between how the non-science majors and the science majors approached it, or the process, or what was that like?
Very good question. I'm going to put Dr. Salzar on the spot. Are you here, Gus? Yeah, because he was involved in that. Yes, go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Yeah, one thing that we noticed can you hear me, right?
Yes.
Yeah, one thing that we noticed is that on our first trial, we have a very good balance of science and non-science majors. and the science majors became the leaders on the hands-on part of the experiment, while the non-science majors were a little more involved in the field trip. Like they seem to have a little more hands of going to the field, getting the sample, finding the sample for different places. All of them were coordinated by a master's student that we have. So we have Professor Taylor and I were like the two faculty advising. The master's student was kind of the hands-on leading the team. And then on each group, you have a science major in the lab and a non-science major more of the field trip. So it was a very good dynamic. We didn't see any overtaking by any of the two. Now we were surprised or maybe just I don't know, fortunate that even though the non-science majors were not I would say as prepared in the content of the science, and they prepared other things, all of them were very good students. So it was several occasions they managed themselves pretty much. So I don't know if that answered the question.
Yes, thank you. That's awesome. Yes, okay, Rebecca can lead us through our last question.
Yeah, I was wondering if one might leverage those general science posters as an outreach tool into some of the, the middle schools or high schools, since they're already formulated to go to a general audience. It seems like once they've accomplished that, that would be great to maybe export those to a visit of, say, 3 or 4 posters to a local school.
Absolutely. We actually, as a matter of fact, we had a meeting last week as part of marketing a program, how to do it. We decided, okay, we just do our posters, show a few posters to high school. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of, those posters can be used as part of recruitment as well. Just get the students excited about the research, what we do in our department. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, seems like you get double your profit out of all the effort.
Absolutely, yes,
That's
absolutely.
great.
And especially taking our undergraduate with this poster to high school, they can communicate with the high school students better than we can. So that's part of the plan, taking our students with us. Yes.
Right. It's near peer-to-peer. Exactly.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Great question. Thank you.
Bye-bye.